Hi, Justin. Thanks for doing the Spotlight School session on your experience participating in our coach training course, which is an accredited course where you learn how to coach young people. So, obviously, you're working in a school. What's your role? What's your current role in the
So
school?
current role is head of geography, but I also teach PE and games, and at the moment look after some of the enrichment sessions as well.
About your school.
So it was it's an independent school. It was formerly a prep school, which decided to go to 16 years old about 5 years ago. So we just got our first cohort of year 11s going through their GCSEs this year. So they would have been the ones that were really affected by COVID.
How did you decide to do the coach training course, and how did you see coaching fitting in
So
to?
from a personal perspective, the coaching came from coaching sessions that I'd had. So I'd had through our school, we were offered like 4 free sessions. And through that and analysing and having a chat, it actually pinpointed what my passions were. And it really identified helping the pupils, but through a coaching perspective and a proactive, positive way, not a retrospective counselling way. So that's how I came to it, really.
You identified that coaching was going to help the young people and the students in your school, but what you weren't exactly clear, were you, when you first started the course on how that would look or what?
No, I mean it was more. It started off probably me as a personal growth in terms of my personal development and adding that to my bow and thinking how that might change my teaching and how it might change my approach in school. But then the more I've done it, and the more we've gone through things, the more sort of clear vision of how I see it working in terms of interventions in school are sort of taking place. And that for me, it was all about personal development, really, the initial bit,
Yeah.
um, and looking at ways in which I could help pupils to take accountability, really, for what they do.
Were you noticing then what were the kind of things that students were struggling with that you felt coaching could help them with?
I think they struggle with a lot with a bit of direction. So when they think, oh, I'm struggling in this subject or I'm struggling in that element of school, they don't know how to formulate a plan to get anywhere. They don't know where to start. They don't know. They're just confused. And I think they're quite, I wouldn't say resilient, is they're not resilient, but they don't know where to find resilience in. They don't know how to put those little building blocks in to get themselves from where they are now to where they want to be. And half of them actually don't know where they want to be. It's almost like
Yeah.
they're told what they need to do, but
Yeah.
actually they haven't thought about themselves what they want.
So is that lack of autonomy, would you say?
Yeah, very much so. I think that's schools and education. That comes with the territory. But for me, it's really. I mean, I've certainly noticed it in like the year 10 and year 11 GCSE groups. We want to get. What do you want? Oh, we want to get good grades. What's a good grade look like to you? Oh, it looks like this. What do you need to do to get there? Work,
Yeah.
and that's it. They, they,
Yeah.
they don't know what the steps are or to set themselves little targets.
Do you think that then is then overwhelming them because it's
Oh,
this
absolutely.
massive grey area of
Yeah, absolutely. And they're so used to being told what to do that when they're asked to almost, and it's not everyone, but when they're asked to like formulate their own ideas or what do you think you need to do, they've no idea. They
yeah.
must have like 100 thoughts going around in their brain, but
And they
they don't. Yeah, yeah.
go,
It's like brain freeze.
fascinating, isn't it? And do you think that then creates like an over dependence on staff to do things for them?
I think it works both ways. So definitely no dependence on staff, and also a reluctance to take accountability when they get it wrong.
Mm,
It's a bit of a blame. It's a bit of a blame. Oh, that's not my fault. It's so homework is a prime example. So we have teams, we have homework diaries, and it'll be, oh, you haven't done your homework this week. No, I haven't. Why not? Why haven't you done it? Oh, because you didn't put it on Teams. Did I tell you what to do and ask you to write it down? Yes, but you haven't put it on Teams, sir. So it's not my fault.
mhm.
So there's they look for, and like I say, it's a generalization, but there's more of a tendency to look for blame elsewhere rather than perhaps go, actually, I got that wrong. what can I do to make sure it doesn't happen again?
So yeah, it's like that lack of accountability
Yeah,
combined with a fear of failure, combined with
absolutely.
like lack of psychological safety to take safe risks,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
high stakes accountability, but also
yeah.
they don't have the resources either.
No, but I don't think they learn. I think we always tilt. It's a big thing about, oh, we need to teach them how to fail.
Hmm.
I still don't think we do, and I don't know if a lot of pressure that from that comes at home
Hmm.
as well as in school place, because they're bombarded with assessments and grades, and that okay, it's okay to fail, or even though we say it, I don't know if that's always backed up.
So do you think there's always there's this perception of a safety net catching them, so they can't fail, so then it creates this over reliance? I'm wondering.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. And I don't know if I don't know how much they're taught to think for themselves in some regards, and find them ways out of situations. I know we've focused quite a lot on growth mindset and not being able to do it yet,
Hmm.
but actually, I don't know how effective that is in reality, in terms of ingraining those skills in the pupils.
There's interesting research around growth mindset, and it's like you have to also model that behavior and then create the
Yeah,
space for it to be tested. You can't just
yeah,
say yet at the end of every
yeah. I
session.
know. And when you mention it in school, that's what the people said, I can't do it yet.
Yet.
Yeah. So it's,
Really
yeah,
like, oh God.
that's their approach to it. Yeah. Yeah.
I totally get it. Tell me about what you've gained then from doing the coach training course that's helped you start to tackle some of these issues.
About, kids' minds and how they react and so on. But I've learned a lot about the process of how to break things down, and that idea of giving them autonomy and guiding them,
Hmm.
and not jumping in. So, the teacher in me is like, go on, I want to help you. I want to be able to, give you a push in that direction, rather than just stepping back, and asking the right questions and just getting them there.
Hmm.
So patience has definitely been one thing that I've learned, through it, but it's just been a really rewarding experience in terms of, professionally, because I put a few little things into my teaching. Um, and I do a few sessions, start to do a few sessions with the pupils at school as interventions, and just seeing the little light bulb moments, and when you see them the second week and they've managed to do something, they're like, that's what makes it worthwhile.
What sort of things what coaching skills have you added to your teaching?
It's really, to do with, so in like pastoral care, I'll sit down sort of the year 10s or so and say, right, where do you want to be? And do the, where do you think you are now? Where do you want to be? And then maybe three little steps about, it's simple things like that. Um, you know, Short term GCSEs. It might be friendship wise. I'll do one on, more friendship and pastoral issues. And when they can just break it down simply, it just seems to be more effective.
Mm. And tell me about some of the changes that you've noticed in the students that you've been using coaching with.
Um, they've definitely become more, proactive, I would say, in terms of, oh, sir, do you think this will work? Do you think this is a good idea? Might this help? If I do this, do you think that, is this going to help me get to that point? So rather, they're already starting to think about what the next step is, little steps on the way to get to the destination where they want to be. So rather than waiting to be told, they're actually thinking like, oh, actually, yeah, I might try this. And a couple of them have tried it, hasn't worked,
Mhm.
and they've gone back to, yeah, didn't like that. That didn't work particularly well, but I'm going to try this next time.
Amazing compared to what you said that they
Yeah,
struggle with.
yeah.
You're helping them find the solutions that they already have within themselves and feeling safe to try them out. I mean,
Mm,
they're still checking. They say, sir, shall I try this? Sir, shall I try that? So the next step would almost be they don't feel the need to check. They come
yeah.
back and they say, I've done it and it worked or it didn't work. So that's what maybe as they go through the coaching process, then they will build in confidence as well.
That for me, that's it. It's the confidence to try it, and actually, if something doesn't work, to try something else. rather than just go, oh no, I can't do it, and just give up and and just take a step back. And it's just just keep working and keep working and keep working and taking different directions. If something doesn't work for them, go, actually no, that didn't work, but I might try this.
Yeah, so that's that pathway and agency thinking that we're talking about with the hope theory, and also that is growth mindset, is the ability to like overcome an obstacle and keep moving forward and find a new solution, rather than, oh, I did it once and I can't do it, I'm never doing it again. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean they do find it hard. I think because I'm a teacher, they see me for 90% of the day saying, do this, do that, a bit more, not didactic, but a bit more controlling of what happens in the classroom. And then suddenly they come and see me, at lunchtime or break time. It's like, oh, this is a completely different approach.
Yeah, so they've got to adjust to you and your
They
coach
have to adjust
role.
to it. So it takes them a little while because they're seeing me in a different light. So it works both ways.
And how do you feel when you're in that coaching relationship and as different to your teaching relationship?
But yeah, it's been really rewarding actually, in from that regard.
Do you think it's when you see the young person get it and find their own solution, that's what's rewarding?
There's that, but it's also, one of the first sessions I do on the first one is identifying like where they think they are. If it might be friendships or it might be, and it's almost when they reflect and think accurately about where they are and where they want to be, and the fact that they can get there.
Yeah.
But there is a pathway. So, I'm not going in there and say, this is where you're at. These are the reasons why you might be there. And it's a positive approach. So I think in some of their faces, when they suddenly realize, actually, this is quite a positive approach that we're going to do. This isn't going to be trawling over traumas. And, I will tell them that that's not my role and not my skill set. That's some switch and they go, okay, I can really be positive. That's rewarding.
What would you say the most significant things that coaching is making a difference to?
In terms of the pupils, yeah, so it's still early. So it's in terms of the pupils, it's twofold. I mean, one is the accountability, and actually, they're going through things. So a couple of people have done things, said, "Oh, we're going to do that for next week," and then they turn up, go, "Have you done it?" No. Like, well, why not? And they can't get out of it. At the end of it, they come back to actually, yeah, that was me. That's my fault. And that would be the first time that I know it's certainly two of them have ever acknowledged that anything was their fault.
Yeah.
It's always been. So that's a good step.
So their students are taking more accountability and owning
Yes.
when they don't do their actions.
Yes. But also only when they don't do their actions, but also getting reward when they do.
And what kind of reward are they
As
getting?
internal, not from
Right.
me.
Pride.
I'm not like bribing them.
No, I didn't think. No, I knew you wouldn't be.
You can see it, yeah, you can see it in their faces. I've made a conscious effort that nothing I do is going to be. There's going to be no rewards or anything like that. It's just all intrinsic. Because they have said, "Oh, do I get we do praise points? Do I get praise for that?" I'm going, no. This isn't about extrinsic stuff. This is about you getting better internally and developing good habits, as you move forward and progress forwards.
I think that's I think that's a trick there, that the fact that you've made it purely intrinsic and purely about them getting something out of it for themselves is adding to this ownership that they've got over the process potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. There's nothing else they're going to get from it apart from the internal feeling that they get, in intrinsic motivation and so on.
And to experience that for a I mean, how old are they? 14, 15?
So I have them. They range. So I've 12-year-old to 16.
To have never experienced intrinsic motivation and done something just because you want to for you. It's quite a gift actually to give that to some
I'm sad.
Adolescent. It's sad, isn't it, that they have.
It is sad. I don't know. I know, like I'm only looking at a very small percentage
Hmm.
of people, so it might be a general trend. I don't know, but certainly none of them really have an intrinsic drive or had an intrinsic drive to get anywhere.
Mm. And it might be that they're the ones that you've ended up coaching because of that need that's been
Yeah,
identified. So the ones that do are more motivated, they might not need coaching. But
yeah,
if you think
yeah,
about that from a well-being perspective, they're not mentally ill. They wouldn't need to go to CAMS, but they're languishing, aren't they? They don't have any
yeah,
strategies for resources for well-being or motivation.
yeah.
So
I
they're
mean, and also they are. I mean, they are combining. They do have other sessions with the counsellor as well as myself, so
Mhm,
they're getting a double whammy, really.
mhm.
Um,
What kind of stuff are they working with the counsellor on? Emotional things?
it'd be more emotional, yeah, yeah.
Mm. It's interesting that you're using that model of doing counselling and coaching and working with the same cohort. That's quite interesting, but on different outcomes. So you're doing more of the academic kind of.
I know I've had a couple of people that it starts with academic, and then you gradually, when you like, where do you want to be? It suddenly comes out. It might be a friendship issue. It might be something at home. It might be something else outside the classroom. It might be a relationship with a teacher. There's all sorts of things. So they come into it thinking, I'm not very good at. Everyone always says maths. I'm not very good at geography, as it's my subject.
Yeah,
Um, and they go, why, and it'd be, oh, I find it really hard. But then you start breaking it down, and you find that actually it's not the subject, it might be something else.
yeah. So
It's
they're worrying about stuff and they're
yeah,
distracted. Are there any barriers that you
time.
face? Time.
Time is the big one because I'm full-time timetable. It is a case of doing them at lunch times, break times, you know, kids, oh, do you want to come and chat to me for 45 minutes while you could be out messing around outside?
Mhm,
So I mean, first of all, that actually shows that they want to do it if they rock up in the first place.
mhm,
And there's pressure on me if you've got lessons, you've got duties, you're giving up that time after school. So time pressure is the big one. And external school pressures,
yeah.
reports, all of that. That is probably the biggest thing.
What advice would you give to another teacher who wants to add coaching as a string to their bow?
I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, I mean, um, it's going to do nothing but benefit your teaching, I think. Helps with some of the understanding of the kids that you come across, some of the personalities. I mean, I consider myself, one of my strengths is reading kids really well. Um, but the coaching has definitely given me more direction on how to interact and how to push them and how to get them moving forward positively.
Mhm,
And all the tools that you get from it. And I just think going forwards, especially the last 3 or 4 years, what the impact has been on, kids in school, that we talk a lot about counselling and looking retrospectively, but there's not much to do with proactively and looking forwards, and
mhm,
that ownership and that accountability.
mhm.
And I just think it's been brilliant for that.
Yeah. And that's what the whole point, especially when in an independent school, is to help them achieve all these fantastic life outcomes. And no one's helping them look forward and prepare
Well,
for
I mean, you look on so many schools, it's about creating independent, forward-thinking individuals, can stand up for themselves, they're resilient. But actually, do we give them the tools to do it? I
Mhm.
mean, and I've always wondered how to do it until I've done this, if I'm being honest. So
Yeah.
it's like, hear about, right, how do I get them to be resilient? How do I get them to be think through problems? How do I get them to think about where they want to be, reflect, come up with strategies and be accountable? And you're like, don't know how to do that. But the coaching really does work in that regard.
Mm. I mean, you've just described coaching in a nutshell there, haven't you? That's what it does. It helps people think of their own solutions, come up with their own strategies, plan their own way forward, take ownership of it, learn what their own resources are and how to navigate that pathway forward. So to give that to a teenager, I just can't stress enough what a massive
It's,
gift
it's
that is.
for me, it's just the positivity. You know, the whole approach is positive and student led. So the whole time it's, you know, they're not being battered, they're not being told this, they're not having to go really into negative emotions as such, and they're leading it. They're not being told what to do. So it's, you know, it's winning on both fronts.